Hi guys, Adam here. In this video, we're going to learn how to create these gauges for readiness and sRPE. I shot this video before, but I didn't have audio for whatever reason, so I'm going to do it again. You can already see what they look like. I'm gonna delete them, or I'm going to delete this one at least, and I'm going to go through the setup of this and that, and we'll pretty much recreate them. So that's gone. We can leave this one here for now. But the first thing that we did is we set up this readiness gauge area in our reference sheet where we had our readiness over time data and our performance over time graph data. And the first thing that we did was we created a couple categories. And these display values for our readiness information that are based on where they fit within the individual's profile. For example, let's recreate this. What we're going to do is we're going to get the minimum value for a person in their data set. Notice this is 7. I'm just going to do it over here. Let me just maybe move this stuff over. So we're going to go equals min-ifs. I'm going to do min-ifs TBL underscore daily, the readiness score. We're getting the minimum readiness score if TBL underscore daily name equal to, I'm going to go to my data viz. This looks different than you'll see. To that name. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock in the A, lock in the 4. I'm going to remove the I's. We don't need them. Go back to my reference. And so now if I do this, click enter. This is the minimum value in the data set for readiness score for whichever person I selected in my data viz. If I change it, I'm just going to change the person to someone else. Notice it changes. It was 7 before, now it's 6. All these numbers change too. Now, I could have done this in a different way. I realized later, but in any case, let's do that. And what we can do is we can copy this and paste it here and change the min-ifs to max-ifs. Now we have the minimum and the maximum values for readiness score for this person, for the person that we select in our data set. And now what bad, average, and good correspond to, which we'll see these colors kind of correspond to, are going to be the interquartile range. So this is going to be 25 percentile. This is going to be the 75th percentile. This is going to be the in the middle, 50th percentile, the median. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use this formula called quartile. And it works a little bit differently. Equals quartile inc. And this is going to return the quartile or the number that is associated with the whatever quartile we decide. We go, so let's go back here, look at this. Equals quartile inc. If we're going to go table daily name equals, go back to our data viz, whatever this, no, it's not letting me, let me try that again. It's not letting me select that name. Quartile inc. If table daily name equals, try that again, data viz. I'm going to click there and go up one. Data viz A4, I'm going to remove the I4, put dollar signs around the A4, comma. If that's true, then we want the interquartile range of readiness score, TBL, daily readiness score, comma, and now we're asking for which quartile. We can do the first, second, third, maximum, minimum. So we could have done the maximum, minimum this way, but I'm going to do the first. Close it off, click enter. Now I have the value is the readiness score value that is the 25th percentile for this person. And copy this, paste it, change the number 1 to number 2, copy this, paste it, change this to number 3. Notice all the numbers line up. And actually, if I wanted to copy this, paste it here, and make this number 0, we're gonna get the same value as if we did min-ifs. And if I copy this, paste it here, and make it, 4, then we should get the same as our maximum value formula. So if you don't have max-ifs or min-ifs, then you could use this quartile formula to get around that. So we have that. I'm going to delete these, and I'm actually going to delete these because we already have them right here. Okay, they're right next to those. These formulas are all exactly the same. And now, let me do this. What we've done here is we've returned a value that is the person's readiness score for the date in question. I'm going to recreate this again. We go equals average ifs. We actually already have a formula where we get this. So you could type it out again, or you could go to your data viz, find the formula that returns their readiness score for this day. I'm going to do that now. Copy it. And I right click. I'm going to paste the formula in here. And now we just have to change what we're referring to. So for table daily, name, so we want the average readiness score when the name in our database is equal to A4. That was true in the other sheet, but now A4 is not someone's name. So what we're just going to have to do here is replace A4 with dataviz A4. I'm going to remove the I. You don't have to, but I'm doing it. I'm going to lock in the A, lock in the 4. And similarly, I'm going to replace the date with this date here. And again, notice it comes up. I'm going to remove the I6 and put a $sign around the A6. When I click enter now, I'm going to get the value, which is 6. And we'll notice here, yep, it's 6. Okay. Now, next step. For these gauges to work, they have to be formatted in, the numbers have to be formatted in percentages. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to take this value, the person's value for this day, and I am going to divide it by their maximum value to get a percent of their maximum. Okay, that's what this 13 represents, and we're going to do that again here. So the easiest way to get this 13 value is to copy our formula that we did to get their readiness score for the day, paste it here, and then at the end of the average ifs, we just have to divide it by this, which is their maximum value, because we already quantified that with our formula, with our quartile formula or our max ifs formula. And I'm going to click OK. Now notice it's 0.13. If I change that to a percentage, if you remove a decimal, it's 13%, just like we saw. Next, we're going to type in 0.02 into this cell. This is essentially the size of the pointer that you see here. If I change it to 0.01, I'll just change it here just so you see. Once it gets skinnier, if I change it to 0.05, well, it gets thicker. 0.02 seems to be pretty good. And what we do here is we're going to do 2 minus the sum of these two. Let's type that out again. So equals 2 minus sum, parenthesis, this value and this value. Okay. Now that we have all this information, we can start to create our graph. I'm going to go to Insert, Chart. It's going to be a pie chart, but it's actually going to be a subset of that. It's going to be a donut. Okay. And it's going to ask me to select my my information. I'm going to go right-click, select data, add a series. Okay, it doesn't matter what the series name is. I'm just going to call it series. And we actually don't have any data for this. All we're going to do is, see how it says 1 in these squiggly brackets? We're going to go 1, comma 1, comma 1, comma 1, comma 1. There are going to be 5 ones, and then comma 5. Now this is dictated. Why did I do that? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories. That's why. If you had 10 different categories, you could do 10 ones and the number 10. But when I do this, you're going to see what's going to happen here, where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories, and then there's kind of this extra space over here. Now, the way that we make this look like a gauge is not too difficult. We're going to right-click, Format Data Series here. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make the angle of the first slice 270. That's going to shift everything up. Okay, so let's do that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to choose our donut hole size. I don't remember what I picked. Maybe it's like 30. That looks a little bit big. Maybe it's like 35 or something. Excuse me. In any case, that's fine. Let's remove the title. Let's remove these. Don't need those. Click on this again. I'm going to double click on this green one here. Okay, I'm going to go to home. Well, it doesn't really matter how you do it, but I'm going to make the fill no fill so that we don't see it. And the next thing I'm going to do, notice how there are gaps in between each of these series. I mean, that's fine if they're there, but if you go to series options, fill in line, let's go to fill, border, there's a border. If I make there no line, if I make it no line on the border, then the gaps will go away. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to format each of these panels differently based on how I want them to look. In this case, readiness, I want higher to be greener, essentially, and lower to be more red. Or I should have said more green. I don't know if greener is a word. But anyways, the way that we can do this is one simple way is we can just click on the series, say solid fill, and choose the color green. What I did is I did gradients. So let's first fill each of these the color that we want them to be. I'm just going to fill green, lighter green. I'm clicking on it, and I'm just choosing the color. Orange. Maybe this one is, or what did I do? I did yellow. This is yellowish. This one's orange. This one is red. And then, so we could have it just like this. That's fine, or any way you want. But when I click on this and I right-click, fill, if I go down here, I can do gradients, and I'm going to pick this gradient. Then it looks a little bit different. There's a gradient to it. I'm going to do the same thing with each of these. Right-click on it, fill, go to gradient, and just make it a gradient. Right-click, fill, gradient, go to a gradient. Same thing here. Fill, gradient, make it a gradient. Fill, gradient, make it a gradient. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two things. First is you see I have the chart selected border. There's a border around the chart. I want that gone. So I had no line. And the fill of the chart is automatic, which is white. I'm going to go to no fill. Transparent background. Right. Now we're going to have to do something kind of funky. Excel doesn't have a gauge type of formula or gauge chart, so we make it. Now what I'm going to do is in here, I'm going to insert, sorry, one sec, a data series, select data, add series, and for the series values, I'm going to select these three, okay? Click OK. Click OK. Now, I'm going to click on the series, right-click, go to Change Series Chart Type, and I'm going to change this Series 2 to a pie chart. It's a donut now. I'm moving it to a pie. Okay. Now, I'm going to click on that pie chart, right-click, format the data series. We're going to make the angle of the first slice the same that we did with our gauge. That's 270. That flips the pie around a little bit. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the fill options. I'm going to go no line. Okay, now there's no white space in between anything. I'm going to click on this blue one here. Go to no fill. Click on this big gray piece here. Go to no fill. And now we have now this can be any color you want. I chose black, but I'm going to click on this little orange piece that we have here. If I can actually select it. It's kind of hard to click on. I got it here. Make it black. Whoops. Should I just have that piece selected? It's hard to click on. There we go. Make it black. Then I'm going to add a circle. And the way that I do that is I can go to Insert, Illustrations, Shapes. I'm going to pick the circle one here. I'm going to put it in my chart. I like to adjust it from up here. once I figure out kind of what the size needs to be. So maybe it's about that size, and I want it to be an actual circle. Right now it's 0.15, 0.16. Let's make them both 0.15. That's the size we want them to be. And I'm going to shape fill black, shape outline, no outline. And now we have a gauge. Okay, I'm gonna copy this. No, never mind. Let's just do the RPE one too. So the way that we do this is we can copy everything that we have here, right here. Okay. Notice now this gauge is the same as that one. The colors are inverted, but all we're gonna do now is we're gonna replace readiness score with sRPE. And we can do that by selecting all this stuff and go find, replace readiness score with sRPE. I'm going to do replace all. Great. Now, I believe that, let me just check the date of it, make sure. This person didn't train today. Let's pick someone that did, so Popeye maybe. So now we see the RPE value here. There's a percentage of his maximum, and all these values fill in according to the sRPE value. Now, the only thing that I did different between this chart and that chart is, let's say I were to copy this. I'm gonna delete this one, so that if I can click on it. I pasted this chart down. Okay, now we have two of the exact same charts. Right click, select data. The series is fine. It can still be the same first series, but the second series, I'm going to edit and pick these values and click OK. Click OK. Now I'm just going to redo the pie thing that I did before, where the angle of the first slice is already 270, but if I go to fill, I don't want there to be a border. If I can double click on this orange one here, which is hard to do, and I go fill, I can go solid fill, make it black like it is now. If I can double click on this gray one here, make it no fill, click on the blue one here, again, make it no fill just like we did the last time. Maybe I need to move this circle. I mean, I probably didn't place it very well the first time. And now the only issue is that now that we're looking at sRPE, we could want greener as being higher, that's fine. But I like to have it as red being higher. And the way that we do that is you're going to notice that you're not able to click on any of these series anymore. So the way that you get around that is if I right click on this and go to change series chart type, I'm going to put this, our first series, on the secondary axis, which brings it to the front for now. And then I can manipulate these colors. So I double clicked on the first one, solid fill, let's make it red. This one, solid fill, let's make it orange. We're just inverting the order that we have here. That one's fine as it is. This one, solid fill, let's make it that lighter green. Solid fill, let's make this that darker green. And then we can go, again, gradient, oops, sorry, solid fill. Then we can right click on it, fill, gradient, make it the gradient. Same here, click on this one. Right click, fill, gradient. This one's already good. The orange one, right click, fill, gradient. And the last one, the red one, double click on it, right click, fill, gradient. And now the last thing that we have to do is right click on this, select the date, change chart type, change series chart type, move this to the secondary axis, but it doesn't actually have to be on it. We just have to do that, and then I can unclick it off. It doesn't really matter, honestly, just to make things consistent. I know, oh, that one's not on the secondary axis. Perfect. And now we have two readiness gauges that I've already applied, but let's just see if they're the same as what I created previously. I'm going to copy these two, go to my data viz, paste them here. Let's move them over. Just because I had to reshoot this video, they're already here. And look, now we have two. I moved them here and made them bigger, but now we have two readiness gauges ready to go. And if we change a person, the information will change, Let's change to someone else. Again, oh, he didn't train either on that day. Yep, informational change either way, and we can kind of see how the values coincide here. You can change weeks, days. I mean, this is later on in the dashboard creation, but essentially you can see the information changes alongside the information that we change. And that's it for this video. And I don't remember what's in the next one because I'm reshooting this, but I hope this is helpful. And let me know if you have any questions.